Hey crafters, how you doing today? So today what we're going to do is we're going to be doing these Bluetooth tumblers that we have here. It will be a little tricky because they are tapered, which is fine. But if you notice, more along the top actually goes a little bit straighter. So it's a little bit harder to do the image up there. But I'm going to show you how to do it, how I do it. And hopefully it'll work for you as well. The first thing you want to do when you do get these tumblers is there's two things. One, take the top off and make sure you take electronics out, put them back in the container that you have. Second is the Bluetooth speaker. Just unscrew it and test it out. Just make sure it works. You're just going to hold down the button here.
Power on.
And if it says power on, you should be good.
Mode.
You should be good to go. It'll say pairing. That's all you have to really do to make sure it works. If it doesn't say anything, or if it doesn't turn on, charge it. If it doesn't say anything, it could be defective. But we've only had one so far that didn't say anything, and we had another one that wouldn't turn on even after charging. So we had two so far out of 300 that were defective. But so far the rest have been good. So we're just going to turn that off just by holding it down.
Power off.
And we're going to take that, we're going to throw that in the box as well. Make sure everything's all together. Same thing, I'm going to order a second tumbler. I have 10 of these to do, but I'm just going to do these two first. Put these away in here. And then we're going to test it out again, hold it down.
Power on. Bluetooth mode. Pairing.
Perfect. So that one's good.
Power off.
Throw it in the box. Alright, now we're ready to go. So, if you do buy the tumblers from me, I will supply you with the template. So you can actually do these with my template here. And, like I said, it is a little tricky up top, but I am going to show you how that works. Hopefully it'll work for you as well. First thing you're going to want to do is wipe down with a cloth. I don't use alcohol or anything. To me, alcohol leaves a little coating on there, and you really don't want that. So we're just going to wipe it down. Then we're going to take our images, and we're going to do the bleeding edge. So we're actually going to use our heat tape here. And we're going to stretch it out to the edge all the way across. I did a little bit long of a tape, but that's okay. We're just going to go and just make sure it's on that leading edge. Do not stretch out the tape. And don't go over the edge. I hope you can see this. It's kind of hard to do videos when it's just myself down here. Alright, just like that. Oh yeah, that looks good on the video. And then what I usually do so that I remember what side is up and top and bottom is I'll take the bottom tape that I have, tape down here, and since I did it really long, I'm going to save some of this, and I'm just going to cut that piece off. Okay, and I'm going to save this for my next thing. Okay, so we got one of these done here, and since I am doing two, I'm going to do this one the same way. We're going to flip it over. I'm going to add the tape along the leading edge, and why do I keep going so long? The tumbler, the 20 ounce and the 30 ounce tumblers are longer, so I'm used to doing those. Okay, so we're going to put this right along the leading edge. And again, do not stretch out the tape because the tape will want to go back to its original position. And when it does that, it'll actually crinkle the paper. So you don't want to stretch out the tape. Okay. Again, we're going to cut the bottom piece off. Alright. Now our first tumbler. I always hold the tumbler inside after I wipe it down, so I'll wipe it down again, but just in case so I don't get any fingerprints or anything on it. This is our tumbler cradle. This is where I'm going to take the image that I just did and flip it so the image is up, and we're going to put the tumbler right in the center. So this really allows you to really figure out where the center of the tumbler is. Okay, and you can fool around to make sure it's right in the center. There we go. And what I like to do is make sure the bottom is really close to the bottom. Again, you might have to fine tune it. And I can tell this has to go up a little bit. Like that. Let's go up a little bit more. That looks about right. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tape the center. Take the center. And we're going to tape and pull nice and tight. Make sure you do nice and really tight on that. And then we're going to go down. The reason why I'm going to go down is because we're going to actually do something special to the top. And I'll show you that in a second here. Let me just finish going down here. Turn this so you can kind of see it. Now we're actually going up towards the top here. And I can already feel the top kind of coming off the tumbler. You can't really see, but there is an air pocket all the way around because the tumbler is now going straight. The paper wants to keep going on an angle, but the tumbler just comes straight. And if you can see when I go like this, you can see how it'll bunch up like that. So what I'm going to do here for the top part, take my scissors, and I'm actually going to go right on the top of the tumbler and just cut. So you're just going to keep cutting. I would say probably maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. I mean, sorry, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch should be good. But make sure you're sitting on the tumbler and not in between the tumbler. You just want to barely get enough so that it kind of, you can tell right here how it goes like that. So you want to do all the way around the whole tumbler. What this is going to do is going to relieve, when you do go to bend the top, it will relieve some of that stress that the paper wants to keep going straight instead of actually on that angle. So this actually relieves it. So you can just go right around. And you could do as many cuts. You could do smaller ones. Like I'm actually going to keep going. And in between each of those other cuts I did, I'm just going to go put one right in between them. Why not, right? It doesn't hurt whatsoever. Sometimes the more cuts, it might bend a little bit better for you. But that's totally up to you. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our tape that we have up here and we're just going to bend it in. Just like that, okay? Now we're going to take our heat tape. And once again, we're going to take all the ends and we'll just kind of tightly put them on the top and just tightly kind of bend them in, okay? And just go right here. And I hold it with my thumb and I kind of just push it up. And you want to try to go up as much as you can. You can go on an angle if you like. Now, I'm already noticing that I am doing it. I'm still getting a little bit of a crease here, but it should be fine. And there goes my tape. There it is. Again, just keep going in. I'm just pushing it, and you can work those creases out. So kind of wiggle the tape a little bit if you like as well. So what I do is I take the tape, and I'll wiggle those creases right out. Just wiggle them out. I got 10 of these to do for one customer, so this is going to be fun. These are definitely hot right now. When you get them to work perfectly, which I have, luckily, I've done 3 of these so far, and they've all come out nice. But again, the top is the hardest part. And you can start seeing when you're doing it, you'll start seeing a wrinkle when you, as soon as you see it, try to get that wrinkle right on out, just by putting your finger over it and pushing up. Now, if you're worried about ruining the tumblers, because I know this image is going to be all blue, okay? So, and this one has more of a whiter, lighter color on top. If you're worried about doing the tumbler, you can always do designs that have more of a white up on the top. That way you're not as apt to actually ruin it by having those white marks on the top. But so far, I mean, I'm smoothing them out, and I can feel the creases going right away. Now, you don't have to do the method that I did here with the cutting of the edges. To me, it just feels like it relieves it a little bit. Other people do it without doing that. It's totally up to you. But the goal is to make sure you push on those edges to get those bubbling out. The shrink wrap should do the rest. And I do have shrink wrap available on my site. And it is the right size for these, which is nice. Right down to the end, so I see where it's coming a little bubblier now. Alright, so that's what we did there. I see a couple bubbles on the side, like one right here, but I'm pretty sure the shrink wrap will get some of that down. Alright, so now the bottom. The bottom's pretty straightforward. I just bend over the bottoms. I don't have any issues. It's not going to bubble up on the bottom. If you want, you could definitely take a piece of heat tape and kind of wrap it around the bottom here like I do here, and just kind of fold it over a little bit. You don't have to, but I do that. It's just a habit. Now the top, I am going to do one piece of heat tape going around the top after I do the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my pull tape down the side. Okay. And then I'm just going to add one right here across the whole top. And I'm just going to pull really tight just to get that nice and tight around the top of that tumbler. Alright, so I pulled this really tight around the top. So that's ready for the heat shrink. So this is the heat shrink that I just got, and it fits perfectly for these tumblers. As you can see, there's still room on both sides. And what we're going to do is, right where my pull tab is, I see a line going down. On the shrink wrap, they actually have their own pull tab too. But what we're going to do first is, the shrink wrap is a little bit longer, and I don't like having it too long. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually just cut it down. And you can either do it with a cutter, scissors, whatever you want. I'm actually going to leave a mark right here, so I know where to cut it. And I'm just going to cut it on my thing here. Make sure it's straight. There we go. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to go and heat shrink this up. All right, so here's the oven and my trusty heat shrink gun over there. And I got my trusty oven mitt. And I set the temperature to 400 degrees, but on my oven I set it to 410 because that's where it comes down to 400 degrees by setting it to 410. All right, so make sure this is right in the middle. And what I like to do here is I actually like to pull on one side like this. So that way I make sure the heat shrink is covering the whole entire tumbler just like that, right in the center. And I pull on here and make sure this is in the center of that part. Let's see here. That's good, that's good. So I'm gonna pull on this, only because this is where I'm gonna start with my heat gun. Sorry for my nose. All right, so now we're just gonna go over the heat gun here. Try to get all the wrinkles so it's nice and tight. All right, so now we're gonna put this in with the strip that we have on the inside with all the tape going across, facing us first, okay? And we're gonna do that for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I'm gonna do Alexa, set timer for 15, what am I doing?
Alarm set for 3 p.m. tomorrow. Would you like this alarm set for every weekday?
Cancel. Alexa, set timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
2 minutes and 15 seconds. Starting now.
All right, so we're gonna do that. Now, while that's doing that, I'm gonna come on over here and we are going to work on the next tumbler. Ooh, that was almost perfect. There we go. That looks pretty dang good. Now on this one, I'm gonna see if I can do it a different way on the top. We'll see if it works this way as well. I'm gonna do it without cutting the top. See which way works better. Fold the middle. And what I'm going to do here, instead of trying to, because I could feel it really big time, folding when I do that, I'm going to take a tape and I'm actually going to rub it all the way across. But let me switch this. Alexa, off. So now we're going to take our tumbler, and it's going to be off camera because I got to do this quick. And we're going to do a 380-degree turn on it. Alexa, set timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Starting now.
Alright, so we'll go back to this one. Alright, so let me see. I can see a mistake I did right here. Let me fix that. Okay, so you're gonna try to, you want to do the, when you're gonna do it this way, whoop, you want to get on the top of the tumbler, but not too far up top, okay? So you kind of want to pull on this end. I'm gonna try to wrap to see if this will work. This is a trial. I can already see it not really working this way. Yep, so that's not going to work that way. That's good to find out. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this without even cutting it and just wrapping it up and down. To see if it really makes a difference cutting it or not. My timer's going to go off in a second. We're going to take a look at that one. Let's take this out of the oven. And now, as you can see the Alexa, off. How many Alexas are gonna start talking after this video? You can see right away that it's coming through the image, and that's a good thing. So we're gonna find my pull tab right here. Ooh, hot. There it is. I'm just going to pull this straight back down. Of course, it didn't work the way I want it to work. There it goes. Hot, hot, hot. All right. came out perfect. The top looks good. I don't see anything on the top right now. I can see a lot of the blue, but I did make this so it's more white. Hot, 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 hot. On the bottom, I don't really see much wrong on the bottom. We'll put this over here. We'll examine that on the next run. Let's go back over here to finish this tumbler. So this one I did not cut it. And it's probably not the best example to do one with and what cut, especially when that one was a different image. So you couldn't really compare the two. But I know by looking at it, when I see them both, that if there is a difference, I'll know right off the bat. Again, I'm doing this just like you guys. I haven't had a lot of experience with the Bluetooth ones yet. I've only done, that's my third one I did actually. Alright, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in the gaps. I actually feel this might be the better way. Because I'm actually, so I left a lot of gaps in between the tape. And then I'm going back and filling in those gaps. And then I can wiggle the tape to try to get that gap out of there. To get that wrinkle out of there. And I'm just pushing my thumb up like this when I put the tape down, just to try to get the, because you can kind of feel it bowing a little bit. So this allows it to go away. That was a big one on that one. That's another big one. I feel like I'm struggling here when I'm talking and doing it at the same time, but I'm really not. Alright, let's see. Okay, perfect. One more. This up. Alright, so the bottom, again, you don't really, I'm not going to even, I'll do it because I don't want, the whole reason why I do the bottom, even though I don't think I have to, is because I'm afraid to get any air bubbles in the bottom. So I don't want any air bubbles. So by overlapping this on the bottom, it prevents any air from getting underneath the bottom. And that's why I do it. It's just a habit. I don't know if it wouldn't work if you didn't do this, but I'm doing it because I don't want any air going up in between. There's no air going in this way, so I don't want no air getting trapped on the inside. Now we're going to do the pull strip. And on this one, I'm not going to even do one across the top. I think I don't really have to. I think what I did here was good. So we're going to go and put the heat shrink in. And again, I should have measured out what this was. I believe, let's see, I'll measure it out this time. About here. Okay. So what I like to do with these cutting boards, you can actually mark them, which is really cool. So I know this right here, this is my heat shrink, so I'm going to say number, let's see, that's 19, so I'm going to put BT, so I can put BT next to it. So you can mark where the hatch is, so you know next time this is where the Bluetooth is, so when you go to cut this, it's right on there. Alright, so let's go over to the oven, and when we're putting this in the oven, I will show you the other tumbler that I finished. Again, I want to hold this nice and tight like that when I have this in there. Now, you don't have to do that, it's just me. I do things silly sometimes. Definitely go with your own ideas as well. I do sometimes, I leave it just like this so there's enough on both sides. I just have to be careful when doing that because when it shrinks, and I'm going to try it that way. I'll do it this way. Because you want to make sure that when you do it this way, you have enough on the bottom and top. Let me do it that way. Don't get too close, you're gonna burn the shrinker up. I really like this. Can't think of the word right now. Heat gun. I got this at Home Depot. I think it was 40 bucks, but it actually, there's a thing right here that tells you what each temperature is. So this should actually change the temperature. And it has a nice cool down feature, which I'm not going to use while I'm on the video, but it'll actually stay on and cool down the gun, so it makes it last longer. So just by going like this, now it's in cool down. It's actually blowing cold air to cool down the gun. But you can hold it down and it goes away. Alright, so now we got our tumbler ready to go. And trusty Alexa, set timer for 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
2 minutes and 15 seconds. Starting now.
Alright, so I'll put this right in. And now we're going to come over here to my turner. And we are going to take a look at my tumbler we just did. Now that it's cooled down. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer for you. And you can look right there in the bottom. I don't see any defects in the bottom at all. Have that spin right around. Yeah, there's no defects in the bottom. So now we're going to zoom right up to the top. And see if you see any defects on the top. I don't see any at the moment. You can see that light blue going up top there. And it looks pretty good. And this is, it's cooled down now. Alright, let me turn the tumbler over here. In just a second. I'm going to put the Bluetooth speaker on this one. And give it a pop on it as well. Alexa, off. Alexa, set timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Starting now.
Alright, so we got 2 more minutes on here. Let me zoom out. Actually, I'm going to zoom back in, but I'm just going to pinch it out a little bit. What do you think about that tumbler? I think it came out pretty good. I'm excited to see the next one. And we're going to go right over to the oven over here. And what I want to do is I just want to show you guys, And I love this oven, by the way. It's my favorite oven. I've had a few of them. This one seems to be the best. And this is what's it called? Better something. I'll give you the name later on. I know I have a video on my page of this exact oven and how it works in comparison to the other one, which is the Oyster. So you can compare the two. I'm going to go back a little bit because we're almost ready to take this out. I really hope you guys like my tutorial here. Hopefully it helps you guys out a lot, because you know that's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys out. So definitely ask me questions. Don't be shy. You can ask me anything you want. I'm always here to help. Okay, we got 10 seconds. And you can really see it popping in that oven right now. Alexa, off. And what I use to pull this is, it's a special pen that I got that actually does weeding for me for when I'm doing some ATV stuff. It's pretty cool because it has a needle on it. The only issue is with this is once in a while my wife gets a hold of it thinking it's a real pen and actually pinched herself. See how nicely that came off that time? Oh, that came out beautifully. And I think it was because of that, when I did that last one and spun it, it caused, it was harder to take it off. So I'm just going to go through here and take all these off the inside. Which I don't even think I have to because we got the bottom. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, wait till you guys see this. Perfect. There's nothing wrong with the top or bottom. We're going to put this right over here. Come over here. And again, I'll let you guys be the judge of this, but we're going to zoom right to the bottom first. So either technique works. I like this one better, I think, only because it was a less step. You don't have to cut anything. Okay, so that's basically full around, nothing on the bottom. Bottom looks great, right? Let's go up to the top. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, only because the top, I did see a defect. I saw a couple of them on the top. They're not bad, like right there. There's actually a defect right there. Very small. There's a couple right on the top here, but nothing bad at all. That's all. That's okay. There's my seam going down the middle there. A little bit right there, but nothing. That's all acceptable. It's not like a big white line. You don't see like a big, huge white line on those, so that's good. There's another one right there. I think that's the one we pointed out earlier. All right, and that's it. That's my tutorial. Almost 40 minutes long.